Admittedly, as you guys probably already know, I did not post a video yesterday. And that's not to say I didn't read and I wasn't productive. I was, however, I started yesterday off talking poetry with my lovely, beautiful, talented poet friend, Megan. She lives over in Georgia. I won't specify where. And then after that, I read Timothy Morton. I got through quite a few pages of him, actually. But I didn't record it. And then my carpet is all messed up. And then after that, so I used to go to something called Immersionzeit, which is an immersive German group to just practice speaking German because that's my second language. And there aren't a whole lot of people in America to speak German with. So I go to this Immersionzeit group and they met yesterday. So I went to that. And then the package that was supposed to come on Monday, there was a whole debacle with the package situation. It was very stressful and annoying. However, it did get sorted out. I did get my package, and it consisted of magic cards. And so as soon as I saw that my package had arrived, I definitely decided that I was going to take a solid day break and focus on that. So I spent all day yesterday after the Immersionzeit. It's whenever I think of that word, like I don't even need that word. I was thinking about the psychology of that word and how it's a filler word to get you from point A to point B, but it's pointless. It drives me absolutely insane. But if I don't say it, then my brain just freezes. Oh, I just drive myself crazy. Anyway, I spent all afternoon yesterday watching YouTube and trying to figure out how to play Magic the Gathering. Because now I have a huge collection of Magic cards. Huge for me. Like well over 500, 600 cards. And yeah, so, which I'm really excited about. I'm really excited. I am meeting tonight via FaceTime with one of my best friends, Danny. They're over in Nevada. And I actually met them through this program. We were friends. We met in 2020. But we're FaceTiming tonight because they also just got into magic. And so we're going to have ourselves a little magic time. So anyway, all that to say, today I am kind of doing double time on readings, which is fine. I'll get through it. But we're continuing Dark Ecology by Timothy Morton, continuing The Art of the Poetic Line by James Longenbach, continuing Structure and Surprise, edited by Michael Theune. And then our poetry collections today are The World is Round by Nikki Finney. I love Finney. She is another poet that is just on another level. She is phenomenal. And then Tripas by Brandon Somm. I have not heard of Brandon Somm, nor have I read him. However, I have much higher hopes for this author than I experienced with the other author I read on Monday, who I was pretty disappointed with, because this book won a Pulitzer Prize. So I really think that I'll get good things out of this, and that Somm will be doing some really cool moves. All that to say, I'm going to jump right in. We're going to try to keep this below 20 minutes today, and yeah. I have read up to page 85 in Dark Ecology, and I'm going to take a break. I don't know if you'll be able to notice in the time lapse, but I have been reading this book aloud to myself because I process the information a little easier if I do that, because not only are you using your visual mode of learning, but you're also speaking, so you're adding voice, and then you're also adding your listening to that. So that's 3 modes of active learning, and it helps me process through what Morton is talking about here, which I finished the first thread, and he talks a lot about something he calls agri-logistics, which is essentially how humanity has formatted the earth to benefit themselves at the cost of anyone they see as lesser than them. So humanity is also not equal. This brings into play patriarchy and capitalism, and how those who are at the very top disregard anyone beneath them, and Western culture disregards anyone outside of Western culture, specifically Western American culture. Then the second thread is getting into something he calls, Archalyptic. And I think that is going to be something that I pull into my exam, because he talks about Jacques Derrida's development of the concept of archwriting, and how he says writing isn't just scratching marks on surfaces, it's the way a differential play, the tricksy play of nothingness, is in operation everywhere, producing and dissolving distinctions. Such distinctions aren't only epistemological, having to do with language and thought, but also ontological, having to do with Derrida forcefully calls flesh and blood. And how he's discussing this, which is something that Bate brings up in Song of the Earth, is that you cannot have the existence of art without the existence and decimation of nature. Because in order to play an instrument, you need the wood comes from trees, so then we have deforestation. In order to write, you need paper comes from trees, so we have deforestation, and the list goes on and on and on and on. So I think that is really interesting, and I'm thinking about that as I'm reading it. I only have 15 pages left of this text, which I will finish a little bit later. I'm going through at a pretty good pattern, which I'm really excited about. Other than that, I have not gotten to my other books yet, but I have marked where I need to be, which is... yeah, so I have a lot of reading to get to today, but that's okay. And then I haven't done the poetic work yet. But my voice is starting to feel scratchy, and so I think I need to take a break. I also need to get ready because my cats have a vet appointment at 11. So I am going to start getting them in their cages. Hobbs is a nightmare when it comes to this stuff. He's my orange tabby that tries to steal the stage all the time. I mean, he is the main character, let's be real. But so I'm gonna do that. I'm probably gonna eat something, just take care of the stuff. It is almost 10:20 right now, 10:19, and I've been reading since 8:30, just after 8:30, so almost 2 hours, so pretty good progress. But yeah, I'll be back later. Hi, back from the vet. I had lunch. Dolce and Hobbs also had lunch, and we're gonna get back to reading. Dolce had to have some thyroid tests done today, which is a little nerve-wracking. She's 15, so she's older, and Hobbs is 12, and he goes in to get his teeth cleaned next week, which he is not going to be excited about. My cats do not like the vet. But all that to say, hopefully everyone is healthy. I get Dolce's test results back later today. And yeah, I decided I am going to be done with Morton today. I'm going to come back to it tomorrow when I'm fresh again and can work through his very cyclical way of communicating. I did almost get caught up to where I was supposed to be, so I'm not feeling super bad about it, and I'm almost positive. I am positive I can get caught up to where I need to be tomorrow, so it'll be fun. But I'm going to move on to the craft texts next, and then dig into Finney and Psalm. If I don't get to both of these, it's okay. I'll read one tomorrow. But yeah. Alright, so I have finished, I've caught up on both of the craft texts, The Art of the Poetic Line, which the reading that I did today really focused on line breaks, enjambment, syntax, how the use of grammatical devices like prepositional phrases, independent and dependent clauses push syntax and emphasize line breaks and enjambments and end stops and a lot of things like that. So, which is like, again, it's just a refresher, but it's good to refresh. Then Structure and Surprise, I reread, I'm almost positive I've read this book, but I went over the retrospective structure, which is just a structure where the first part deals with something that happens in the past or with memories of past events, and then the second part expands on the first part by bringing the poem into the present moment. That's what the book says. And then I moved into the elegiac structure, or the elegy structures, which is, I mean, this text says the elegy is more of a mode of thinking than a single structure, but it does give 3 different forms of elegy, which says, like, the elegy can succeed in salvaging victory from death by giving immortality to the object of mourning. It can surrender to the experience of loss and forever resonate with sadness, refusing solace in a structure that signals the triumph of death, but also perhaps offers some consolation by displaying the ferocity of the elegist's love. Or lastly, the elegy can examine the disappearance of the dead and simply say, enough, I'll not continue down this path. And then I read the dialectical argument structure, which is when a poem inhabits multiple speakers. And so it says, a potent resource for exploring such internal divisions, it's about internal divisions, is the dialectical argument, in which the speaker or speakers of the poem inhabit by turns the perspectives of 2 or more partial and unsatisfying positions before finding a resolution that transcends their limitations. So yeah, it's usually a 3-part structure that offers that. So speaker 1, speaker 2, and then resolution, I guess, or some way to come to a middle ground, I guess, would be a way to attend to that. And then the last chapter I read was the descriptive meditative structure, which is a 2-part. Oh, it's actually, so it is, it's a 2-part structure, but it's actually 3-part. So you have the description, the meditation, and then the redescription. And oftentimes this is used, it says this is used with nature poetry or having to do with anything nature related. Yeah. But the most important part of the descriptive meditative structure, it says, is the meditation that's being done in the writing. Oh, excuse me. So I did end like 2 or 3 pages early, but that's because it ended very nicely on a chapter. So, and I prefer ending on a chapter than not. With that being said, I am going to move right into my books of poems. I am unsure if I'm going to get to both of these now because it is already 2:16 and I'm starting to lose my energy. I'm starting to lose my energy and kind of like going, so we will see. And I don't know. We'll see where I get. Hello, good afternoon. It is now 4:38. I did finish Tripas by Brandon Som. This book was phenomenal. I am totally blown away by how he utilizes language and he navigates. My Dolce's right here, so I'm upstairs. This is a different view, but I had to change my scenery in order to continue reading because I was tired. But this was a Pulitzer Prize winner and he deserved it. The complexities that are moving through this collection are just phenomenal. It's about a speaker who is navigating being, both of his parents are immigrants. One is from China, the other one is from Mexico, and growing up in America in that sort of family dynamic. And then on top of that, there's a lot of concern with family members working at a Motorola company in Arizona. And it mentions the unethical practices, like environmentally and for humans, that the Motorola company was practicing before it moved to Mexico. And then it also, there's a lot of family investigation that is happening here, as well as internal investigation. And I really loved this book. It was very much a comeback from the book I read on Monday. So highly recommend Brandon Som. Oh, and this is it. I'm done for the day. I'm gonna save Nikki Finney. I love her work, so I want to come back to her when I'm fresh and not totally wiped out. And yeah, I think that's it. I did a lot of reading today. I think I read 300 pages of work today, so that's why I'm tired. And that's why I'm also gonna call it. Tomorrow should be a little lighter. I'll have 2 poetry collections because I'm gonna try to get to Finney tomorrow. But I don't think I can handle over 400 pages today. So I'm gonna go to the store and get material to make burgers because I decided I was gonna have burgers tonight. And that's it. This concludes Practical Poetics Studying with me, Part 8. Have a good night, everyone.